During a tense Senate hearing, Senator Ruben Gallego questioned Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent over a lawsuit filed by President Donald Trump against the Treasury Department and the IRS, seeking $10 billion in damages. Since Bessent is also serving as acting IRS commissioner, Gallego pressed him on whether he had any role in decisions involving the lawsuit and whether the situation created a conflict of interest. The exchange quickly turned into a pointed discussion about taxpayer money, legal authority, and the Treasury's responsibilities.
It would come from...
Process-wise. I'm not asking like your opinion whether it's right or wrong.
It would come from Treasury.
It comes from Treasury, which comes from the general fund?
The Treasury general account.
So taxpayers?
Yes.
Thank you.
Part of the 440,000 taxpayers whose returns were leaked.
If the president, they're not suing, but if the president prevails in this lawsuit, he's going to be able to pocket that money. My question is the president, has anyone in the president's office talked to you about this lawsuit in any regard?
They have not, and the president said he will donate the proceeds to charity. You may have missed that.
So no one at all has discussed this to you whatsoever?
No, sir, and the president said he will.
Have you received, I didn't ask any more questions. Have you received any advice from Treasury's legal division about how to handle this potential conflict?
This is a Justice Department matter. They represent Treasury in it.
Have someone from the Department of Justice actually come and talk to you saying that this is their purview and you need to stay out of it, or who has discussed to you what is your role in this?
Our general counsel, who's sitting behind me, has told me that it is a Justice Department matter. The Justice Department defends Treasury in matters like this.
Okay, so it has been discussed with you. Do you have any final say at all in the process of this, or is the DOJ just going to instruct you to cut a check and or settle, and you have no independence to actually make a decision whether or not the president deserves $10 billion?
Again, that is a DOJ matter.
And so the DOJ will entirely make that decision whether or not the president should receive $10 billion. You have no say at all.
Correct.
So you would just have to write the check if you were told to write the check.
Correct.
And you would write the check willingly if you're told by a DOJ to the president.
I will follow the law, Senator.
Okay. I mean, I think for many of us, this is very simple. And I think if this had been happening in any other countries, it would look an absolute, like a total shakedown of the American taxpayer. Are you also aware that President Trump has filed claims seeking $230 million from the Justice Department for investigations conducted during his previous candidacy?
I'm unaware of the cumulative number.
Okay. So if the president wins or settles these claims, that money will come also from the Treasury Judgment Fund, which you do control. Have you recused yourself from any decisions about paying the president on these claims?
Again, I'll follow the law, and I'm not involved with any of this. It stems from justice.
So even though the Treasury Judgment Fund is called the Treasury Judgment Fund, you have no control over the Treasury Judgment Fund?
We act as paymaster.
So you will sign it then?
Sorry?
You will sign the check then? If you're a paymaster, you'd be the person's signature is to the Treasury Judgment Fund?
I would assume it would be a wire transfer.
Yes, I'm assuming we're not that old school.
Yep.
But that being said, so you have no say in this whatsoever. You will only basically follow what the DOJ says, but you're the person that actually is the final person that pushes send, essentially, on the wire transfer.
Yes.
And even if you feel or that it is unjust, the fact that this president is basically plundering U.S. taxpayer dollars, you will still hit that send button.
Even if I believe that 6103, the IRS tax code, was violated and 440,000 taxpayers were leaked.
So back to this other thing. So now, you do believe, though, I mean, do you understand why some of us see a problem with that? And let me ask just a very simple question. Do you work for the President of the United States?
I work for the American people.
So can the president fire you?
Or he can.
He can fire you, correct?
Yes.
So isn't it a conflict of interest that you're going to be making these decisions and the president has full power over you?
I think you're confused, Senator. I am not part of the decision.
Well, you're certainly a person that send on the wire transfer, and I think that's why there's a lot of people that are actually do not trust and do not trust the president's actually looking at his best interest.
I guess you're saying that
I'm controlling the time here.
Obeying the law.
I'm controlling that. You're not obeying the law. You're plundering U.S. taxpayer dollars. Plundering U.S. taxpayer dollars. Plundering taxpayer dollars. Plundering. Thank you. You'll back.
Senator Gallego began by noting that President Trump is suing the Treasury Department and the IRS for $10 billion. He asked Secretary Bessent whether he agreed that $10 billion was a significant amount of money, and Bessent acknowledged that it was. Gallego then asked where the money would come from if the president ultimately prevailed in court. Bessent explained that any payment would come from the Treasury, specifically from the Treasury's general account, meaning the funds would ultimately come from taxpayers. The senator continued by asking whether President Trump or anyone in the White House had discussed the lawsuit with Bessent. Bessent replied that they had not, adding that President Trump had publicly stated he would donate any proceeds from the lawsuit to charity. Gallego then shifted to questions about potential conflicts of interest, asking whether Treasury's legal division had advised Bessent on how to handle the case. Bessent responded that the matter was being handled entirely by the Department of Justice, and that Treasury's general counsel had informed him it was a DOJ responsibility. The senator pressed further, asking whether Bessent had any authority over the outcome or whether he would simply follow instructions from the Department of Justice. Bessent repeatedly stated that the DOJ would make all legal decisions regarding the case and that Treasury's role would be limited to carrying out its legal obligations. When asked whether he would authorize payment to the president if directed by the DOJ, Bessent answered that he would follow the law. Gallego argued that such a situation could appear deeply troubling to the public, suggesting that if a similar event occurred in another country, many Americans would view it as an abuse of taxpayer funds. The senator also referenced additional claims reportedly filed by President Trump against the Department of Justice, asking whether Bessent had recused himself from any decisions involving payments from the Treasury Judgment Fund. Bessent again maintained that he was not involved in those legal decisions, explaining that Treasury serves only as the paymaster once the Department of Justice completes its legal process.
The exchange concluded with Senator Gallego questioning whether Treasury truly has no independent authority over payments made from the Treasury Judgment Fund. Secretary Bessent reiterated that while Treasury issues any required payments, the legal decisions belong entirely to the Department of Justice. The hearing ended with both sides standing by their positions, Gallego raising concerns about accountability and conflicts of interest, while Bessent insisted that Treasury's actions would be governed strictly by the law and the DOJ's determinations.